Hey, what's going on, guys? Left-handed shooter. Over the last couple months, I want to say, I've had quite a few people, either in my comments, Instagram, on the Facebook page, YouTube comments, whatever. Everyone's asking the same question, so I kind of wanted to address it in a video. So in the meantime, I'm just gonna prep the stuff that I need for the video, and right after this transition, you guys will see what the video is gonna be. So hang in there. All right, so the question that I have gotten asked most recently over the last few months has been, I want to buy a gun, but I don't know what gun I should buy. Or I'll get the, hey, I see you like Glocks, what do you think of this gun? So it is very difficult for me to be able to look someone straight in the face and say, hey, yeah, I've shot that gun, go ahead and get it. I'll be honest, I have a very limited amount of guns that I've actually gotten to shoot, whether it's my buddy's guns, whatever gun somebody else might have. My dad's guns when I was younger, still living at home. We'd go out to the range, he'd bring out his assortment, and we would all go shooting. So I have a very limited scope of guns that I've actually shot. And that doesn't mean I don't have the knowledge, it's just I can't give my personal opinion on something that I haven't fired. So on that note, I've kind of pulled out some of the guns that I personally own, specifically handguns. That's what everyone's asking. It's either pistols, handguns, however you want to call it, revolvers too. There's a mix of that. I've shot revolvers, more double action. I've only fired a few single action. That were my dad's. Most everything else that I've fired is, semi-automatic pistols, single action, double action, whatever. But again, like, people come up to me and ask me for a specific gun. If I'd shot it, what do I think of it? And I just don't want to lead people on thinking that I've actually have experience with that gun when I don't. So I'm just going to kind of break it down real simple. The gun that I recommend for someone to buy is going to be a gun that they've actually tested out themselves. Whether you go to a shooting range and rent that gun and put some rounds through it, whether it's 50, 100, you don't like it, you do like it, whatever, either or. I always encourage people to go through and rent as many different guns as possible. And also, when it comes to buying a gun, or you're buying your first gun for that matter, or first pistol, whatever, is always going to come down to, what do you need that gun for? If it's recreation, do you want to just have a range gun? Is it going to be for everyday carry, concealed carry or outside the waistband carry? Is it going to be a backup to, say, a police officer who needs a backup gun? Is it going to be a secondary service weapon and they want something along those lines that meets the criteria of the department? Or if it's someone that just wants a home defense pistol but doesn't know where to start. So I'm going to break it down a little bit by that. Ultimately, you got to ask yourself that question first, is what are you anticipating this gun to do for you? Is it going to be a home defense? Or are you okay with having a slightly larger gun? Do you want a more versatile gun that covers more of those things, like being able to carry it every day? Capacity is important. Barrel length not so much important for home defense because you want to carry it also. Do you want it to do multiple jobs? Do you want to do single jobs? Or do you want to just take it to the range and have fun with it? So that makes a big determination as to what gun you want to start with. So on that topic, I will go ahead and bring out the gun that I first bought when I turned 21. And that was my Glock 17 Gen 3, as you guys can see. Nothing in there. No magazine in there. Glock 17 Gen 3. From the retailer, comes with 2 or 3 mags if you're getting the blue label deal or whatever, or it'll come with 2 or 3 mags depending on the model. If it's not law enforcement, you'll probably just get 2 mags. If you've got like the blue label deals or whatever that Glock does, you'll get 3 mags. This is full size 9mm, comes with 3 or 2 17 round mags. Glock is a very well supported gun in the aftermarket. You can get base pad extensions for, +5, +6, +2, plus, just different amounts of extra rounds that you can add to it. But just keep in mind that when you add rounds to the magazine, or you add the capacity, the magazine will have a tendency to stick out below the gun. So for me, California didn't have concealed carry at the time, so I ended up getting a full-size 9mm. This was my range gun. This was me to get more familiar with firearms. This was for me to have as home defense. Sometime down the road, my back sight broke off, because Glock back sights are known for that because they're plastic sights, so I ended up upgrading them. But this has been my gun since, I want to say 2007 is when I purchased it. So for the intended purpose, it did its job, but I didn't purchase this gun without going to the range. I would say I think I had gone 4 or 5 different times, shot different grains of ammunition through it, just tested it out, see how I felt comfortable with it, see if I liked it. I was comparing it to other guns. I don't recall what the other guns were at the time, but I had been comparing it with different firearms then. And ultimately, the price point, the comfort, the ergonomics of the gun, for me personally, I enjoyed it. I really liked it. So this is the gun that I chose to purchase. So moving on from that, shortly after that, after I purchased, I'd say probably a couple years, you know, I bought other guns, and then I went and bought a Glock 21 SF, which is for their slim frame line, which is, the grip's a little bit smaller. I don't have exactly humongous hands, so gripping the gun has always been an issue. So I purchased that one, had it for a few years, never really used it, and I just kind of ended up getting rid of it. And then down the road, a couple years later, I ended up purchasing a Glock 19, which is slightly smaller. I didn't grab that one for this video, I apologize. Shorter barrel, shorter grip, slightly smaller, and I got that one because I had gotten my concealed carry permit when I was in South Carolina. So that one, again, 2 or 3 mags, 15 round capacity as opposed to the Glock 17 that comes with a 17 round capacity. And again, aftermarket support will allow you to go up in capacity for magazines. So that was perfect, but then again, you know, as time went on, I got used to carrying, and it became a little bit of a bulkier gun. So when it became a bulkier gun, I went ahead and purchased myself a Glock 43. I actually ended up trading it out. I had a different Micro 9 that I traded out for a gun that I didn't like, traded that one out, got this one. So this one's empty also, guys, nothing in there. So this one from the factory only comes with 6 round mags. So as soon as I got the gun, went online, ordered these. I think these are Vickers Tactical Tango Down +2s. So I took it from a 6+1 to an 8+1, did it to both magazines, and this became my primary carry. But before I bought this one, or traded for this one, I had actually purchased the Sig P365, and I was actually carrying this one. I had put about 120, 130 rounds through it. I don't recall the exact amount. And I started having failure to extract issues. Sent it back to the manufacturer, and by the time I got it back, I had already gotten the 43. So the 43 had taken over after a range trip, and it was successful. So this one, I took it on one range trip. Second one, it started malfunctioning, having failures to eject every other round, every third round. I tried every single magazine, it all had issues. If you haven't seen that video, I have another video posted specifically on the Sig P365. But now it's back. I took both of these to the range the other day. Both of them performed flawlessly. I would say I put probably between 75 to 100 rounds per each gun, not just myself. I had other people borrowing them when we were at the range, and they were putting rounds down range without any issues. So for micro 9mm, they're great guns. If that's something that you want to do, carry. The Sig 365 has a much higher capacity. In there right now is a 12 round magazine, so this would be 12+1, as opposed to my Glock 43 that is only 8+1. So I lose a few rounds, but ultimately this one hasn't made it back onto the carry list. This one has, so anytime I'm leaving the house, you know, during the summer, especially when I'm wearing lighter clothing, this is going to be the gun that I go to. So this is the purpose for this one. So by no means am I trying to say, hey, go out and buy one individual gun for every single purpose. This Glock 43 that works for me as a everyday carry can be home defense, can be, you know, protection around property. You know, if you own property and you're, you know, often encountering predatory animals and stuff like that, you know, this would be a perfect gun for it too. Like I said, it is a little bit lower capacity, but it's still, this gun can do multiple jobs. Would I take this out to be, you know, in a shooting competition? Definitely would not. But it can serve multiple purposes being a micro 9mm. Then there's more of the range guns and recreational, you know, either shooting competition or just a gun to have. And for that purpose, I have my Sig Scorpion 1911. You know, it came with 3 8-round mags. I'll show you guys, this one's empty also. And this is just a monster of a gun. Obviously 45 ACP, all these other ones are all 9mm. But this gun in itself is just, you know, a gun for me to have. I've always wanted a really nice 1911. I have another 1911 that I purchased when it was a battalion pistol. We purchased them as a group when we got back from Afghanistan. Did this whole group buy. Everyone was able to, or everyone was afforded the opportunity to purchase one if they wanted to. So that one, I put 50 rounds through it, cleaned it, put it in its display case, and that's the entire purpose for that one. So I wanted a different 1911 to, you know, take out to the range regularly and everything. So that's what this one is. So again, ultimately for buying your first gun, I encourage you to go out, get some time behind the gun, go call, or you know, call different ranges, see what guns they have available for you to shoot, try them out. If you have a significant other in the house, if your wife or, you know, husband, whatever, wants to get a gun also, and you're both going to be using it, I'd recommend both going to the range at the same time, trying out the guns, seeing which one works best, and make a decision from there. Don't be afraid to try a bunch of different guns. I know my wife and I have gone to the range multiple times. Actually, our second date when we were first dating was to the shooting range, and from there she's been hooked. She carries on occasion, but I'm primarily the one that's carrying whenever we're out. So I also get guns revolving around her. Like, she's comfortable shooting the 365. She's also comfortable shooting the Glock 43. And she's also comfortable with my Glock 19. The Glock 17 is a little bit bulkier for her. So she kind of avoids that one, but I have other guns to choose from. So on that note, again, get some time behind a gun. If a friend has a gun and lets you borrow it, you know, be courteous, buy them some ammo. Or say, hey, you know, take me to the range, I'll buy your ammo, or I'll pay for your entrance fee, or whatever it might be, and get some time behind whatever gun you're thinking of buying. And just, again, pros and cons, balance them out, find out what you want that gun for and what purpose it'll serve you, and make determinations from there. Make yourself a list and start making eliminations as you've tried those guns out, and just go from there. YouTube is another great source to see gun reviews about different guns. Unfortunately, with gun reviews, some reviewers tend to be a little bit biased. Some people may say I'm biased because I own a multitude of Glocks, but that's just what I'm comfortable with, what I enjoy the most for the price point, the capacity, and the reliability. Some of my guns have well over 10,000 rounds and have had 0 malfunctions or issues, whereas, you know, like I did with my Sig 365, I got to about 130, 140 before I started having issues, and that one just kind of left a sour taste in my mouth, even though it went to the, you know, to the manufacturer for warranty, came back. I'm still a little bit skeptical on it, whereas the Glock 43, I've put a couple hundred rounds through it, still haven't had any issues. Could it fail? Yeah, any gun is capable of failing, just like cars have points of failure for whatever it might be. The one that's got over 10,000 rounds now is my Glock 17 Gen 3. This thing is cleared 10,000 rounds, and I've had one recorded incident with it, and it was actually user error because I failed to seat the magazine properly to where it clicked in place. So when I fired that first round, the magazine shifted down and didn't load the next round successfully, and basically caused a malfunction right then and there. Since that, there has been 0 issues with this gun in over 10,000 rounds. So yeah, I'm a little bit biased, but I'm more biased towards reliability and something that I have confidence in. So I encourage you guys to do the same thing when you're making your decision on what gun you want to buy first. If you guys have any additional questions beyond that, go ahead and leave a comment below, And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything you want me to try and answer, I'll go ahead and do so. If you like the video, if you think I'm providing some good insight, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to continue to do a little bit more content for you guys over the next few weeks. So anything that comes up, I'll try and cover it via YouTube video. So that's all I got, guys. Take it easy.